saw that last video, you'll know that the Jeep is back, but there were some problems still with noises coming from the rear drums. So let's peel these off and kind of see what's going on in here. Hopefully it's just something simple like the backing plate, but let's find out. So I got the wheel off, the passenger side, it's up on jack stands. So let's get this one off. It'll come off. It's definitely stuck on the pads. Okay, so I need to loosen the pads up. That much is for sure. Ouch. At least a little bit. Before I can get it off. There we go. All right. Inside of the drum looks fine. So there is a wear mark here. Let's see around here. So it's definitely rubbing on something, but I don't know if that's the source of the noise or not. I don't see anything in here that it's rubbing. You can see the new axle bearings. Okay, no noise from this, that's good. Oh, there's something that's rubbing on. Let's see, right here. Rubbing on the backing plate right there. And if you look, that's where it's already kind of messed up. You can see right there how the bottom of that's all chewed up. So somebody had already cut into this at one point, but it looks like that might be what it's rubbing on. So my guess would be somebody, if you look, it's peeled back this lip right here. I bet somebody peeled that back to get to this adjuster at one point. So, all right. So I think that right there, maybe I tap that with a hammer and see if it'll move out. I wonder if that's the only thing. Okay, so here's the passenger side. I don't see any rubbing anywhere on this backing plate. This one is not damaged like the other one is. You can see that's fine, there's no rubbing. On here, or on the inner lip, the drum's just fine. So that's good. And now with the wheels off, it's dead silent. All I can hear is the gears clicking on the inside. And then there's the new backing plate. You can see the new bearing that's in there. One other thing I'm noticing, completely unrelated, but is probably a thing. If you look at the brake shoes, the material comes down here, all the way down to this notch. So let's just use this blue spring as a point of reference. So here, how far down that goes. Let's go look at the other side. So we're back on the driver's side. And if you look here, material, blue spring, oh, it just stops. It doesn't go down to here. So, same thing here, it stops at this bracket at the bottom that holds the auto tensioner assembly. So this is one of those things. You know it's a thing, and but you get so caught up on getting something put back together that you forget to notice these things. Drum brakes have a primary and a secondary shoe. So the primary shoe, I think, is the front one, the secondary is the rear one. Generally, from what I've read, the front shoe should have the smaller pad material, and the rear shoe has more pad material. So when you stomp on the brakes, the front shoe goes in and gets pulled down because the wheel is rotating, you know, that way and forward, which pushes all this over, pivots this out, and since the wheel cylinder is pushing out on both of them, it uses this to wedge this brake bottom of this shoe out and, you know, stops the wheel. So when I got the brakes in the box, each box had 2 sets of pads in it grouped together. So it looks like the pads, each set of pads was a set of fronts and a set of rears, not each set was for each wheel. So what I have here is what amounts to 2 front pads on the driver's side and the passenger side over there, with the 2 larger pads are supposed to be at the rear of the drum, not the car, but the rear of each drum assembly. So this is one of those, now because I didn't notice that while working on it, I get to take this off, and 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 this off, that off. I get to take the rear pad off of this and put it on the front over there, and I'm going to take the front pad off of that and put it on the rear over here, so that way we have primary small pad, secondary large pad. That's not what's contributing to the noise, but it will make for uneven brake wear, uneven brake application. The side with the thicker pads is going to grip much better than the side with the 2 smaller pads. So pay attention when you're doing this, or you do it, in my case, 3 times now, 3 or 4 times. Yeah. Now what that means is I'm going to hammer this thing down here where it's rubbing. See if I can bang that back just enough to clear the pad or the drum. That should help, but I also need to fix this too. It's going to destroy these pads in short order, or it'll destroy the other ones because they'll be too tight, and then these, you know, they need to be even. That also means I need to get the front ones off at some point and check those too. So pay attention when you're working on these. So yeah, that sounds fine, feels fine. Yeah, hopefully it was just that was the only issue, and actually it's probably good that I took them off, because once it quiets down I'm going to want to drive it, and I don't want to destroy these new pads. So let me go grab a hammer, I'll fix this, and if I don't know what time, I don't have enough time today, we'll try and get these shoes swapped out. That basically means disassembling both rear brake drums, or brake assemblies again. Yeah, lesson learned. Pay attention to these. I noticed it when I took them out of the box, and I got so caught up on getting everything put back in correctly that I didn't even realize I had done that. So it won't happen again, I'd like to say, but I'm sure it will. All right, let's get this mess sorted out. At least it's not in the rear end. I'm happy about that, right? It's nice and quiet with the drums off, so it's definitely in the brake assembly, and probably just that, because that alone would make enough noise to be deafening inside of this metal box. And to give you some point of reference to what it sounded like, it didn't sound like grinding before. Like the rear end sounded like bad bearings and howling gear set. This sounded more like if you've ever heard one of these things being turned on a brake lathe, that kind of hollow grinding, scratching sound. That's what that sounded like. So that's making pretty relatively solid contact there. It's definitely welded or rubbed smooth, and it's definitely proud right here, you can feel. So hopefully a couple of smacks with a punch will fix that, but we'll see. Okay, so I've gone ahead and hit that with, got a got a punch here and a 4-pound hammer. I also backed this off 2 clicks just to help, and I can't do it with one hand, but it's put the drum back on and the grinding is done. It is now silent. All I can hear is the pads rubbing against the drum. So I'm going to, since doing this is going to be very time consuming, I'm going to go ahead and get these pads swapped over. Then I'll throw the drums back on both sides, torque everything down, because that's going to pull that drum nice and tight against this hub face. And if it's going to contact anything, it'll do it then. But this is well back behind this face here now. It was proud, and now it is nice and pushed back. In reality, this should have a new backing plate, but yeah, I'll do that later. All right, let's get moving. Not looking forward to doing this for a 3rd time, but whatever. Okay, it's done. Only took about an hour and a half. You can see now I've got a bigger pad at the bottom or in the back, and then a smaller pad on the front. It's the same on the other side. I learned another good lesson here. If you're going to be taking these apart, brakes, and you're smushing them back together, take the top off of the old master cylinder. I was working over there, started over there to get this brake shoe off the front of the other side and bring over here, and was just working away over there, got it all put back together, came over here, and it had completely blown the metal piston and this little push rod out of the wheel cylinder, and marked its territory. I got it all put back together. It's not leaking at the moment. I've put the drum back on a few times, pumped the brakes out really good. I don't know, I'm worried I may have just destroyed this, but we'll see. So lesson learned, either crack a bleeder or open the master cylinder up the top so it'll leak, but at least overflow in it. You can't see it, but it dribbled a bunch on the ground as I was putting this back together, so good lesson there. Everything's back together. I've loosened this up a little so it's not quite so tight, and the other side is better as well. So I guess next thing is put it back together, take it for a rip, and see how it does. The transmission is still a variable. I don't know, but at least I think this is fixed now. This down here has been beat back, so we'll find out when I can drive it. If the noise is gone, if it persists, then we'll have to do something about it. The only rub marks I see anywhere on any of the drums is on this one, and it's around this rim, and it's from this. So, and with the both drums off, there's no noise. And with just the other one on, that one's too tight too. That one over there is too tight. This one, there's no noise now. I can't even turn it because the brakes are locked up. All right, so I need to adjust that, loosen that up a little bit, and then should be good. So I think I'm going to go ahead and close it here. I don't know when I'm going to be able to do a test drive with it, so I think I'm going to leave this one alone, let it be its own video, and then in the next video, or if and when I do get to test drive it soon, I will turn the camera on and kind of give you an update on how it went. So yeah, thanks for watching. I hope you found it entertaining, and a lot of things to learn here about what not to do. Make sure you're getting your pads matched up correctly. I hope you can see the differences there. Give place for the fluid to expand when you're pushing the wheel cylinders together. And yeah, anytime you are replacing bearings and then pulling clearances and stuff out of a loose, worn out system, you might run into issues like this, where there was clearance before, but now that the face of the hub has been pulled back into the axle housing thanks to the new bearings and retainers, now it contacts this here. So anyway, thanks for watching, and yeah, we'll see you in the next one.